The real estate office felt too cold. Simone sat in the leather chair across from Rochelle's desk, her hands folded tight in her lap. Through the glass walls, she could see other agents showing properties on computer screens, couples leaning in close, dreaming together. She and Derek weren't dreaming together. Not anymore. So, Rochelle said, sliding a folder across the desk, this is the one. The house on Maple Grove. 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, updated kitchen, beautiful backyard. It's been on the market for 2 weeks and I'm telling you, Simone, it won't last much longer. Simone's heart squeezed. She'd driven past that house 17 times in the last month. Yellow with white trim, a wraparound porch, oak trees shading the front yard. The kind of house that whispered home even from the sidewalk. I want to put in an offer, Simone said quietly. Derek shifted beside her. She felt it more than saw it, that stiffening of his shoulders, that intake of breath that meant he was about to say something she wouldn't like. Baby, we've talked about this, Derek said. His voice had that edge to it, the one that had been there more and more lately. Now's not the time. We need to wait until I'm working again. Until things are more stable. I can afford it, Simone said. Her voice was steady even though her stomach was churning. Derek laughed. It wasn't a small laugh, not a chuckle or a nervous sound. It was loud, sharp, cutting through the professional quiet of the office. Other agents glanced over. Rochelle's expression went carefully blank. You can afford it? Derek repeated, still grinning like she told a joke. Simone, come on. We're living off my unemployment checks and whatever you make from your little hobby. This house is $280,000. We can't. I can afford it, Simone said again. The words felt like glass in her throat. Derek's smile faded. What are you talking about? Rochelle cleared her throat. Simone came to me 3 weeks ago. She's been pre-approved for the full amount. Her finances are solid. The silence that followed was the worst kind. The kind that felt like standing on the edge of something breaking. Derek's face went through several changes: confusion, disbelief, and then something harder. Something that looked like anger. Pre-approved, he said slowly. You went and got pre-approved for a mortgage without telling me? I'm telling you now, Simone said. That's not how marriage works, Simone. We make decisions together. Like we decided together that you'd spend the last 6 months on the couch? The words came out before she could stop them. Sharp and true and terrible. Derek's face went dark. I've been looking for work. Every single day. You think it's easy out there? You think I'm not trying? I think you've been feeling sorry for yourself, Simone said. Her voice was shaking now. I think you've been so busy being angry about losing your job that you haven't noticed I've been keeping us afloat. Paying the rent. Paying the bills. Buying the groceries. With your hobby money, Derek said, and there it was, that dismissiveness that had been growing like a tumor between them. Selling old clothes online isn't a real job, Simone. Rochelle stood up abruptly. I'm going to give you 2 a minute, she said, her voice tight with barely controlled anger. She walked out, and Simone was grateful for the privacy even as she felt ashamed that her friend had to witness this. Derek, Simone said, I make 6 figures. He stared at her. My little hobby brought in $130,000 last year. This year I'm on track for 160. I have been quietly building this business for 4 years. I have savings. I have excellent credit. I can afford this house. Derek's mouth opened and closed. You're lying. The words hit her like a slap. Simone stood up, her legs unsteady. I have never lied to you. But you've never asked. You've never asked how much I make or how the business is doing. You just assumed it was nothing because it wasn't construction work or office work or something you understood. If you're making that much money, why have we been struggling? Derek demanded. We haven't been struggling, Simone said. You've been struggling. With your pride. With feeling like less of a man because you lost your job. So you decided my work was less than yours so you could feel bigger. She picked up her purse. Her hands were shaking so hard the straps rattled. I'm buying that house, she said. With or without you. She walked out of the office. Past Rochelle, who reached out to squeeze her hand. Past the other agents who were definitely not looking at her. Out into the parking lot where the September sun was too bright and the air was too thick and she couldn't breathe quite right. Her phone buzzed before she reached her car. Derek. We need to talk about this at home. Don't do anything stupid. Simone deleted the message without responding. Then she called Rochelle. Put in the offer, she said when her friend answered. Full asking price. I want that house. Are you sure? Rochelle asked gently. Simone looked up at the sky. Somewhere miles away that yellow house with the white trim was waiting. A place that could be hers. A place where she wouldn't have to make herself smaller to make someone else feel bigger. I've never been more sure of anything in my life, Simone said. That night, Derek didn't come home until after midnight. Simone lay in the dark, listening to him fumble with his keys, listening to his heavy footsteps in the hallway. He didn't come into the bedroom. She didn't go looking for him. The next morning, Rochelle called at 8. They accepted your offer, she said. The house is yours, Simone. Congratulations. Simone sat at the kitchen table, still in her pajamas, holding the phone to her ear. Through the thin walls of their apartment, she could hear the neighbors arguing, could smell someone's burnt toast, could feel how small this place had become. Thank you, she whispered. In the living room, Derek was asleep on the couch, one arm flung over his eyes. He looked younger like that. Vulnerable. Like the man she'd married 8 years ago, before layoffs and wounded pride had turned him into someone she barely recognized. She wondered if he would ever forgive her for this. She wondered if she would ever forgive him for making her feel like she needed forgiveness for succeeding. Derek didn't speak to her for 3 days. 3 days of living in the same apartment but moving around each other like strangers. He'd leave 4 job interviews that Simone suspected were just drives to nowhere. She'd work in the second bedroom, her office packaging vintage finds, updating her website, responding to customers who loved her eye for authentic pieces from the 70s and 80s. Her mother called on Thursday afternoon. You're buying a house and I have to hear about it from Rochelle's mama at the grocery store? Lorraine Hayes's voice was sharp but warm, the way only a mother's could be. Simone sighed, holding the phone between her ear and shoulder while she wrapped a mint-condition 1978 Diane von Furstenberg wrap dress in tissue paper. I was going to tell you, Mama. When? After you moved in? Lorraine paused. How's Derek taking it? The question hung in the air. Simone sealed the package with vintage-style tape, her hands moving automatically through motions she'd done thousands of times. He's not, Simone said finally. He's not taking it at all. He's just gone. Physically here but gone everywhere else. Want me to come over? Simone closed her eyes. Yeah, I do. Lorraine arrived an hour later with a container of her famous peach cobbler and a look that said she was ready to fight anyone who'd hurt her daughter. She was a small woman, barely 5'3", but she'd raised Simone alone after Simone's father died in a car accident when Simone was 9. Lorraine had taught her daughter that strength wasn't about size or volume, it was about knowing your worth and refusing to apologize for it. Where is he? Lorraine asked, setting the cobbler on the kitchen counter. I don't know. He left this morning. Said he had interviews. Lorraine hummed, that sound that meant she had opinions but was choosing her words carefully. Show me the house. Simone pulled up the listing on her laptop. They sat at the kitchen table, the same table she'd inherited from Lorraine when she'd gotten married, solid oak that had survived 30 years, and looked at the photos together. Oh baby, Lorraine breathed. This is beautiful. It has a sunroom, Simone said, clicking through the images. I was thinking I could use it for my business. The light is perfect for photos and there's enough space for inventory storage. And look at this kitchen, Mama. Look at those counters. Granite, Lorraine said appreciatively. And that's a Wolf stove. Your daddy would have loved cooking on that. They sat in silence for a moment. Simone's father had been an amazing cook, the kind of man who could make something special out of nothing. He taught her that good things took time, that rushing never made anything better. How much are you making now? Lorraine asked. 130 last year. Probably 160 this year. Lorraine sat back in her chair. Lord have mercy. And Derek didn't know? I tried to tell him, Simone said, hearing the defensiveness in her own voice. I'd say something about a good month or a big sale, and he'd nod and change the subject. He'd make jokes about my eBay hobby when we were with his friends. He never asked to see the books or the accounts. He just assumed. Assumed you were playing at business, Lorraine said. Yeah. While you were actually building an empire. Simone laughed, but it came out watery. I wouldn't call it an empire. What would you call making more money than most folks with fancy degrees and corner offices? Lorraine reached across the table and took her daughter's hand. Baby, you need to hear this. You didn't do anything wrong. You built something real, something successful, and you did it while being a good wife, while supporting your husband through his struggles. You don't owe anyone, including Derek, an apology for being good at what you do. He's my husband, Mama. We're supposed to be a team. Teams communicate. Teams celebrate each other's wins. Lorraine's voice softened. When's the last time Derek celebrated you? Simone couldn't answer. She genuinely couldn't remember. The apartment door opened. Derek came in, stopping short when he saw Lorraine. "Mrs. Hayes," he said, his voice carefully polite. "Derek." Lorraine's voice was cooler than Simone had ever heard it. "I hear congratulations are in order. Simone's buying a house." Derek's jaw tightened. "We're married. We're buying a house. Or it should be. Is it?" Lorraine stood up, all 5 feet 3 inches of her, and somehow she seemed to fill the room. "Because from where I'm sitting, you've been treating my daughter like her contributions don't matter. Like her work is a cute little hobby instead of the thing keeping a roof over both your heads." "Mama," Simone started. "No, baby. He needs to hear this." Lorraine turned back to Derek. "You lost your job. That's hard. That's real hard, and I don't minimize that. But you don't get to take that pain and use it to make Simone feel small. You don't get to laugh at her dreams because you're hurting." Derek's face went red. "With all due respect, Mrs. Hayes, this is between me and my wife. And you're doing a bang-up job with that, aren't you?" Lorraine picked up her purse. "Simone, call me tomorrow. We'll go look at furniture." She left, and the silence she left behind was worse than any argument. Derek sat down heavily on the couch. He looked exhausted, Simone realized. Dark circles under his eyes, shoulders slumped, everything about him radiating defeat. "I don't know how to do this," he said finally. Simone stayed in the kitchen, keeping the distance between them. "Do what?" "Be okay with this. With you being the one who's successful while I'm." He gestured vaguely at himself. "This." "I never asked you to not be okay with it," Simone said. "I asked you to see me. To see what I was building. But you couldn't do that because it didn't look like success to you. It wasn't a hard hat and a truck and a construction site, so it must not be real." "That's not fair." "Isn't it?" Simone felt something breaking loose inside her chest, something that had been locked down for too long. "Derek, I love you. But I can't make myself smaller so you can feel bigger. I can't pretend my business doesn't matter so you can feel like the provider. That's not a marriage. That's me disappearing so you can stay comfortable." Derek stood up. For a moment she thought he might leave again. Instead he walked to the window, staring out at the parking lot 3 stories below. "My dad worked construction his whole life," Derek said quietly. 40 years building things, using his hands, coming home tired and dirty but proud. He provided for us. That's what men do. They provide. And you think I've taken that from you? You've proven I'm not necessary," Derek said, and his voice cracked. "If you can buy a house on your own, if you make more money than I ever did, what do you need me for?" Simone felt tears sliding down her face. "I need you to love me. To respect me. To be proud of me instead of resentful. That's what I need you for, Derek. Not your paycheck. You." He turned to look at her and she saw tears on his face too. "I don't know if I know how to be that person right now," he said. "Then figure it out," Simone said, "because I'm moving into that house in 6 weeks. And you need to decide if you're coming with me as my partner, or if you're staying here alone." She went into their bedroom and closed the door. She could hear Derek in the living room, could hear what might have been crying or might have been something else. Her phone buzzed. A text from Rochelle. "How you doing?" Simone typed back, "I don't know. But I'm not backing down." "Good. That house is yours. Everything else will figure itself out." Simone hoped her friend was right. She lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, and let herself imagine it. Walking through that yellow house with the white trim. Standing in that kitchen with the wolf stove. Setting up her business in the sunroom with the perfect light. She imagined it empty, just her. Then she imagined Derek there too, smiling at her the way he used to, back when they were young and stupid and so in love it hurt. She didn't know which vision made her sadder. The next morning, Simone woke up to an empty apartment. Derek's car was gone. His work bag, the one he'd carried to job interviews, was gone. For one terrible moment, she thought he'd left for good. Then she saw the note on the kitchen counter. "Staying at Troy's for a few days. Need to think." Troy was Derek's best friend from high school, lived across town in a basement apartment that smelled like old pizza and regret. Simone crumpled the note, then smoothed it out, then crumpled it again. She didn't know what to feel. Relief? Abandonment? Anger? All of it, maybe. Her phone rang. A customer calling about a vintage Halston gown she'd listed the night before. "Yes," Simone said, forcing herself into business mode. "Yes, that's genuine 1977. The beading is all intact, no repairs needed. It's a size 6, but it runs small, more like a modern 4. She spent the next 20 minutes discussing measurements, answering questions, and closing the sale. $1,700. Easy. Natural. This was what she was good at, finding beauty in forgotten things, matching pieces with people who would love them. After the call, she stood in her office, the second bedroom that Derek had agreed to give up but never really acknowledged as legitimate workspace. 3 clothing racks lined with carefully curated pieces. Shelves of shoe boxes containing everything from pristine Ferragamo pumps to rare Converse high tops. A photography setup in the corner with professional lights and a white backdrop. 2 computers, one for inventory management and one for the website and social media. This wasn't a hobby. This was a real business built piece by piece over 4 years. Her phone buzzed. "Mr. Patterson. Can an old man buy you lunch today? Got something I want to talk to you about." Simone smiled. Mr. Leonard Patterson lived 2 floors down, had since before Simone and Derek moved in. He was 68, retired from the postal service, same as her mother, though they'd never met. He was the one who'd gotten Simone into vintage clothing in the first place. 4 years ago, she'd been helping him clean out his late wife's closet. Evelyn Patterson had died 6 months earlier, and Leonard couldn't bring himself to touch her things. Simone had volunteered, thinking she'd just be bagging clothes for donation. Instead, she'd found treasures. A 1960s Chanel suit. Designer shoes that had never gone out of style. Accessories that told the story of a woman who'd had impeccable taste and a love for quality pieces. "These are worth money," Simone had said, holding up a Hermes scarf. "Then sell them," Leonard had said. Evelyn would have wanted them to go to someone who'd appreciate them. Not sitting in a landfill somewhere. He'd given her everything. Told her to keep whatever profit she made. That first month, Simone had made $3,000. She tried to give Leonard half, but he'd refused. "You did the work," he'd said. "You found the value. That's yours." He'd become her mentor after that. Teaching her how to spot quality, how to research provenance, how to build relationships with estate sale coordinators and vintage collectors. He'd been the only person who'd taken her business seriously from the start. They met at the diner 2 blocks from the apartment complex. Leonard was already in their usual booth, coffee in front of him, looking out the window with that faraway expression he sometimes got. Missing Evelyn probably. The grief never really left, Simone had learned. It just became something you carried. "There's my favorite businesswoman," Leonard said as she slid into the seat across from him. "How you doing, Mr. Patterson?" "Been better. Been worse." He studied her face. "You look tired." Derek still being a fool? Simone laughed despite herself. Leonard had never been one for sugarcoating. "He's staying at Troy's. Needs time to think." "About what?" "About whether he can handle his wife being successful." Leonard shook his head. "Men. We're our own worst enemies sometimes. My Evelyn made more than me for 15 years. Post office salary versus her teaching? She was bringing home the bigger check. You know what I did?" "What?" "I thanked God every day that I'd married a smart woman. Bragged about her to anyone who'd listen." Leonard's eyes got that soft look they always did when he talked about his wife. Derek's pride is hurt. That's natural. But he's letting it make him cruel, and that's a choice. The waitress came over. They both ordered the usual turkey club for Simone, patty melt for Leonard. "So what did you want to talk about?" Simone asked. Leonard pulled an envelope from his jacket pocket. "My daughter called. The one in Arizona." Simone's heart sank. She knew what was coming. "She's been asking me to move out there for 2 years now. Says she worries about me being alone. Says her kids want to know their grandfather better." He slid the envelope across the table. "I told her yes. Mr. Patterson. I'm leaving at the end of October. Movers come in 3 weeks." He smiled, but it was sad. "I'm going to miss this place. Going to miss you most of all." Simone felt tears burning her eyes. "I'm happy for you. Really. Your grandkids should know you. But I'm going to miss you so much." "That's what I wanted to talk about." Leonard leaned forward. "Simone, what you've built these last 4 years, that's real. That's something to be proud of. Don't let Derek or anyone else make you doubt that." "I'm buying a house," Simone said, and saying it out loud to him felt like the first time she could truly celebrate it. 4 bedrooms. Sunroom perfect for my business." Leonard's whole face lit up. "That's what I'm talking about. That's my girl. Evelyn would be so proud of you." "I'm proud of you." The tears spilled over then. Simone wiped at them, laughing. "Look at me. Crying in a diner. Nothing wrong with happy tears." Leonard reached across the table and patted her hand. His hands were weathered, spotted with age, strong in the way that came from a lifetime of work. "You're going to do amazing things, Simone. With or without Derek. Though I hope he pulls his head out of his backside long enough to realize what he's got." Their food arrived. They ate and talked about easier things. Leonard's grandkids, the vintage Gucci belt Simone had just acquired, the weather turning cold earlier than usual this year. When they finished, Leonard pulled out another envelope. "This is for you. Don't open it until you're home." "Mr. Patterson, I can't." "Yes, you can. It's my money and I'll do what I want with it." His voice was firm but kind. "You gave me something precious, Simone. You helped me let go of Evelyn's things with dignity. You turned her beautiful taste into something that lived on. You think I don't know you undercharged me for that work? You think I don't know you could have made way more if you'd wanted to?" Simone had no idea what to say. "Go home," Leonard said gently. "Open the envelope. And when you move into that house, you hang my number on your fridge. I want pictures of every room." They hugged in the parking lot. Leonard smelled like Old Spice and coffee and something indefinably comforting that reminded Simone of her own father. "Thank you," she whispered. "For everything. You did the hard part, sweetheart. I just watched you fly." At home, Simone sat on her couch and opened the envelope. Inside was a check for $15,000 and a note in Leonard's shaky handwriting. "Simone, this is not charity. This is an investment in someone I believe in. Use it for your business, your house, or just keep it in the bank for peace of mind. You earned this through years of hard work and talent. Evelyn always said you could tell a person's character by how they treated forgotten things. You treat them like treasures. That's who you are, someone who sees value where others see junk. Don't ever let anyone make you small. Not even the people who love you. Proud of you, Leonard." Simone held the check in the note and cried. Big, gasping sobs that shook her whole body. She cried for Leonard leaving. She cried for Derek's absence. She cried for 4 years of building something beautiful while feeling like she had to apologize for it. When she was done, she felt lighter. Emptier but cleaner, like something toxic had been purged. Her phone rang. "Derek." She stared at his name on the screen for 3 rings before answering. "Hey," he said. His voice sounded rough, tired. "Hey, can we talk? I'm outside." Simone went to the window. Derek's truck was in the parking lot, and he was leaning against it, phone to his ear, looking up at their building. "I'll come down," she said. They sat on the bench outside the apartment complex, the same bench where they used to sit when they first moved in, back when they were newlyweds and everything felt possible. It was October now, leaves turning gold and red, that bite in the air that meant winter was coming. Derek looked rough. His clothes were wrinkled, hair uncombed, stubble that had crossed from casual to unkempt. He'd been at Troy's for 4 days and it showed. "I've been thinking," Derek said, staring at his hands. "Actually, Troy's been yelling at me is more like it." "About what?" "About how I've been treating you." Derek's voice cracked. "He asked me straight up, asked me if I even knew how much you made. And when I said I didn't know exactly, he asked me why. Why didn't I know? Why had I never asked?" Simone waited. "I didn't have an answer," Derek continued. "I realized I didn't ask because I didn't want to know. Because if your business was real, if it was successful, then..." He trailed off. "Then what?" "Then I had to face the fact that I'd been failing while you were succeeding. That I'd lost my job and couldn't find another one while you built something from nothing. That made me the weak one. The failure." "You're not a failure, Derek." "Aren't I?" He finally looked at her and his eyes were red. "I had a good job. I was proud of what I did. Then the company downsized and suddenly I was nobody. Just another unemployed guy sending out resumes and getting nothing back. And every day that passed, every rejection, I felt smaller. Less of a man." "So you made me feel small too," Simone said quietly. Derek flinched. "Yeah, I did. And I'm sorry. I'm so damn sorry, Simone. You didn't deserve that. You've been working your tail off, keeping us afloat, building something amazing, and I treated it like a joke. I treated you like a joke." A woman walked by with a stroller. A car alarm went off somewhere in the distance. Life continued around them while they sat in the wreckage of their marriage. "I saw your business yesterday," Derek said. "Really saw it. I went into your office while you were at lunch with Mr. Patterson. I looked at your inventory, your setup, your computer. I saw your bank statements on the desk." Simone's hands tightened in her lap. $163,000, Derek said. "As of last month. That's more than I ever made even at my best year. And you did it alone without anyone believing in you. Especially not me. Mr. Patterson believed in me. Yeah, Troy told me about that too. How your neighbor gave you your start. How he's been your mentor. How he's treated your business with more respect than your own husband." Derek's voice shook with shame. "I'm so sorry, Simone. For all of it. I need more than sorry, Derek. I need you to tell me why. Why wasn't I enough? Why did my success make you feel like less instead of making you proud?" Derek was quiet for a long time. A leaf fell from the tree above them, landed on his shoulder. He didn't brush it away. My dad used to say that a real man provides for his family, Derek said finally. That was his whole identity, the provider. After he got laid off when I was 16, he fell apart. Just completely fell apart. My mom had to work 2 jobs while he sat in his chair, drinking, getting angry. He never recovered. Never found another job that made him feel like a man again. You're not your father. No, but I was scared I'd become him. When I lost my job, all I could think about was him. About how he gave up. How he let his pride eat him alive. And then you were succeeding, and instead of being proud like I should have been, I felt like I was failing the same way he did. So you decided to make me the problem, Simone said. I made your success about my failure. I know that now. I know how messed up that is. Derek turned to face her fully. Troy asked me a question last night. He said, "Do you love her?" And I said, "Of course I do." And he said, "Then why are you making loving you so damn hard for her?" Simone felt tears sliding down her face. I don't have a good answer, Derek continued. Except that I've been so lost in my own pain that I couldn't see yours. Couldn't see that you needed support too. Needed celebration. Needed your husband to be proud of you instead of threatened by you. I'm buying that house, Derek. I'm not backing down on that. I know. And you shouldn't. It's a beautiful house. You earned it. You deserve it. Derek swallowed hard. What I don't know is if I deserve to be in it with you. The question hung between them. Simone looked at the man she'd married 8 years ago. She'd loved him for his humor, his kindness, his work ethic. She'd loved the way he'd look at her like she was the only person in the world. She'd loved building a life with him. But somewhere along the way they'd stopped building together. They'd become 2 separate people living separate lives under the same roof. I don't know either, Simone said honestly. I love you, Derek. But love isn't enough if we can't respect each other. If we can't celebrate each other. If every time I succeed you feel like you're failing. I want to change, Derek said. I want to be better. Not just say it, be it. Actually do the work to fix what's broken in me. That's going to take more than just wanting it. I know. Derek pulled out his phone, showed her the screen. I made an appointment with a counselor. Dr. Freeman, over on Oak Street. My first session is Monday. Troy helped me find him. Said he'd been seeing someone after his divorce and it saved his life. Simone stared at the appointment confirmation. I'm also talking to a job placement counselor, Derek continued. Not just sending out resumes randomly. Actually getting help with my resume, interview skills, networking. And I've been looking at certification programs. Construction's changing, everything's going digital, computer-aided design, project management software. I can learn that stuff. This is all good, Derek. Really good. But it doesn't change what happened. It doesn't erase the last 6 months. I know. And I'm not asking you to forget or to forgive me right away. I'm just asking for a chance. To prove I can be the partner you deserve. The one who builds you up instead of tearing you down. A couple walked past them, holding hands, laughing about something. They looked so easy together, so light. Simone wondered if she and Derek had ever been that easy. I need time, Simone said. The house closes in 5 weeks. I'm moving in whether you're ready or not. If you want to be part of that, you need to show me. Not tell me, show me. Do the therapy. Get serious about your career. And most importantly, start seeing my business as real. As valuable. As worthy of respect. I will. I promise. Don't promise. Just do it. Derek nodded. He looked younger somehow, lighter, like admitting everything had lifted some of the weight he'd been carrying. Can I come home? He asked. Simone thought about it. The apartment felt bigger without him these last few days. Quieter. But also lonelier. Yeah, she said. But you're sleeping on the couch until we figure this out. That's fair. They sat there for a while longer, not touching, not speaking, just existing in the same space. It wasn't fixed. They weren't magically better. But maybe it was a start. Maybe that was enough for now. 2 weeks later, Simone stood in her future house for the first time. The home inspection was scheduled for 10 in the morning, and she'd arrived 15 minutes early, unable to wait. Rochelle had given her the code to the lockbox, and now she was alone in the space that would soon be hers. The front door opened into a spacious foyer with hardwood floors that gleamed even in the morning light. To the left was the living room, bay windows overlooking the front yard, a brick fireplace that actually worked, built-in bookshelves on either side. To the right was a formal dining room that opened into the kitchen. The kitchen was even more beautiful in person. Granite countertops and soft gray, white cabinets with brushed nickel hardware, and that wolf stove that made Simone's heart sing. She ran her hand over the cool stone, imagining dinner parties here. Imagining Lorraine teaching her to make her famous cobbler in this kitchen. Imagining Derek cooking breakfast on Saturday mornings, the way he used to when they first got married. The past 2 weeks had been strange. Derek was trying, genuinely trying. He'd gone to 2 therapy sessions and had another scheduled for next week. He'd met with the job placement counselor 3 times. He'd even asked Simone to show him her business operations, had sat in her office for hours while she walked him through inventory management, pricing strategies, customer service protocols. "This is incredible," he'd said, looking at her spreadsheets. "You built all this?" "Yeah. With Mr. Patterson's help at the start." Derek had nodded, really listening for maybe the first time. "I'm sorry I never saw it. I'm sorry I never asked to see it." They weren't fixed. They were still sleeping separately, still moving carefully around each other. But there was something different now. Something that felt like possibility. Simone moved through the house room by room. The sunroom was everything she'd hoped, windows on 3 sides, natural light pouring in, enough space for her inventory racks and photography setup with room to spare. This would be her headquarters, the heart of her business. Upstairs there were 4 bedrooms. The master bedroom had an ensuite bathroom with a garden tub and separate shower. 2 of the bedrooms were good sizes and the 4th was smaller, perfect for an office or guest room. Or a nursery. The thought came unbidden. Simone stood in the doorway of the smallest bedroom, hand pressed to her stomach. She and Derek had talked about kids before he lost his job. Had agreed they'd start trying once they bought a house, once they were more settled. Then everything had fallen apart and they'd stopped talking about the future entirely. The doorbell rang. Simone headed downstairs, expecting the home inspector. Instead, she found Tasha on the front porch, Rochelle's assistant, holding 2 coffees and a bright smile. "Rochelle sent me," Tasha said. "Thought you might need moral support for the inspection. Plus, I brought good coffee, not that gas station stuff." Simone laughed, grateful for the company. "Come in. Let me show you around." They walked through the house together, Tasha exclaiming over every detail. She was younger than Simone by a few years, bubbly and enthusiastic in a way that felt genuine rather than performed. She'd worked with Rochelle for 2 years and had helped with countless closings. "This sunroom," Tasha breathed. "Oh my God, the light in here. Your photos are going to be stunning." "That's what I thought. I can set up my whole operation here. Maybe even expand, hire someone to help with the volume." "Are you serious? That's amazing." Tasha turned to her. "Rochelle told me what you do. The vintage clothing business? I think that's so cool. I'm always buying vintage pieces online. I probably bought from you and didn't even know it. What's your handle?" "Vintage Vibe Collector." Simone's eyes widened. "Wait, you're Vintage Vibe Collector? You bought that Jean-Paul Gaultier jacket from me last month." "That was you." Tasha practically squealed. "Oh my God, I love that jacket. I wear it constantly. Everyone asks me where I got it." They were laughing when the doorbell rang again. This time it was the inspector, a middle-aged black man named Dennis who'd been doing this for 20 years, according to Rochelle. "Miss Parker?" he said, shaking her hand. "Dennis Crawford. I'm going to be poking around every corner of this place for the next few hours. You're welcome to follow along or you can wait down here. Most people find it pretty boring." "I'll follow," Simone said immediately. Dennis was thorough. He checked the foundation, the roof, the electrical panel, the plumbing, the HVAC system. He tested every outlet, every light switch, every faucet. He crawled into the attic in the crawl space. He ran water in every sink and flushed every toilet. Simone followed him everywhere, Tasha trailing behind, both of them asking questions. Dennis explained everything in plain language. The house was solid, built in 2008, well-maintained. There were a few minor issues. A slow drain in the half bath, some weather stripping that needed replacing around the back door, and the HVAC system would need to be serviced soon. But overall, Dennis said as they stood in the kitchen 3 hours later, "This is a good house. Strong bones. The previous owners took care of it. You're getting a solid investment." After Dennis left, Simone and Tasha sat on the floor of the empty living room, drinking their now cold coffee and talking about furniture placement. "You could put a sectional here," Tasha said, gesturing to the far wall, "with the TV mounted over there. And maybe a reading chair by the window." "I've been looking at furniture online," Simone admitted. "I have a whole Pinterest board. Send it to me. I love decorating. I'll help you pull it together." Simone's phone buzzed. "Derek, how'd the inspection go?" She stared at the text for a moment, then typed back, "Good. House is solid. Few minor things but nothing major." That's great, babe. Really happy for you. Then a moment later, for us. Happy for us. Simone showed Tasha the text. What do you think? Is it weird that he said for you first? Tasha considered it. Honestly, I think it's growth. He's acknowledging this is your achievement first, then correcting to include himself. That seems healthy to me. You sound like a therapist. I've been in therapy for 3 years, Tasha said with a shrug. Best decision I ever made. Taught me how to spot the difference between someone who's really changing and someone who's just performing change to get what they want. And which one is Derek? I don't know him, so I can't say. But asking yourself that question? That's smart. Don't let love make you stupid. Make him prove it. After Tasha left, Simone stayed in the house alone. She walked through each room again, slower this time, really feeling it. This was hers. This success, this achievement, this house, all of it was hers. She thought about Mr. Patterson, who would be leaving for Arizona in 1 week. She thought about her mother, who'd raised her to be strong and self-sufficient. She thought about Rochelle, who'd never let her settle for less than she deserved. And she thought about Derek. About the man he'd been and the man he was trying to become. Her phone rang. Lorraine. How's the house, baby? Perfect, Mama. It's perfect. When do I get to see it? Come tomorrow. Bring your measuring tape. We need to figure out what furniture I need. I'll be there at 10, Lorraine said. Then more softly, I'm proud of you, Simone. Your daddy would be so proud. After the call ended, Simone sat on the floor of her future living room and let herself cry. Happy tears this time. Tears of relief and joy and accomplishment. She'd done it. Against all the doubt and dismissiveness and obstacles, she'd built a business and bought a house. She'd made a place for herself in the world. Whatever happened with Derek, whatever came next, nobody could take this away from her. This was hers. Derek got a job offer on a Tuesday morning. Simone was in her office, photographing a vintage Hermes Kelly bag, when she heard the front door burst open. Simone. Simone. Derek's voice was different, lighter, excited in a way she hadn't heard in months. She came out of the office to find him standing in the living room, phone in hand, practically vibrating with energy. I got it, he said, grinning so wide it had to hurt. The project manager position at Sullivan Construction. They just called. They want me to start Monday. Simone felt her own smile breaking across her face. Derek, that's amazing. Congratulations. He crossed the room and pulled her into a hug. She stiffened for just a moment. They'd been so careful about physical contact these last few weeks, then relaxed into it. He smelled like the cologne she'd bought him for their anniversary 3 years ago, and for a moment, everything felt normal. Like they were the people they used to be. The salary is $65,000, Derek said, pulling back to look at her. Plus benefits. Plus they're paying for me to get certified in the project management software I need to learn. It's not what I made before, but it's a start. It's a real start. I'm so happy for you, Simone said, and she meant it. Despite everything, despite the hurt and the anger, she genuinely wanted Derek to succeed. Wanted him to find his footing again. We should celebrate, Derek said. Go out to dinner. Somewhere nice. Okay. Yeah, let's do that. That evening they went to Bernard's, the restaurant where Derek had proposed 8 years ago. It was expensive, the kind of place where the menu didn't list prices, where the servers folded your napkin if you went to the bathroom. Derek had saved for 3 months to afford dinner here back then, had been so nervous the whole time that Simone thought he might pass out before he got the question out. Now they sat in a corner booth and it felt like time travel. Like they were those younger people again, full of hope and plans and love that seemed invincible. To new beginnings, Derek said, raising his wine glass. Simone clinked hers against his. To new beginnings. The food was incredible, seared scallops and braised short ribs and sides that were more art than vegetables. They talked about Derek's new job, about the house closing in 3 weeks, about Lorraine's plans to help with the move. I want to be there, Derek said. At the closing. When you get the keys. Simone studied his face. You do? Yeah. I know I messed up. I know I wasn't supportive when I should have been. But I want to be there for this. If you'll let me. Okay, Simone said softly. You can be there. Derek smiled, relieved. Then he reached across the table and took her hand. I've been thinking about what Dr. Freeman said. About how I was making everything about me. About my pain, my failure, my wounded pride. He asked me when I last asked you how you were doing. Really asked, you know? Not just, how was your day, but really wanted to know. And what did you say? I couldn't remember. And that killed me, Simone. Because you've been carrying so much and I was too busy drowning in my own stuff to notice. Simone felt tears burning her eyes. It was lonely. Doing all of it alone while you were right there. I know. And I'm sorry. I'm going to do better. I'm already doing better, I think. At least I'm trying. You are? Simone agreed. I see it. The therapy, the job search, the way you've been actually listening when I talk about my business. It means something. I went to your website, Derek said. Looked at all your listings, read your reviews. You have customers from all over the world, Simone. People saying you changed their lives, gave them confidence, helped them find pieces they've been searching for years to find. You're not just selling clothes. You're doing something bigger. Simone squeezed his hand. That means a lot. That you finally see it. I should have seen it from the start. They finished dinner and drove home in comfortable silence. It wasn't fixed, Simone knew that. You didn't heal months of hurt with one good job offer and one nice dinner. But it was something. A step forward instead of back. At home, Derek headed to the couch where he'd been sleeping for 3 weeks now while Simone went to the bedroom. She changed into her pajamas and lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Her phone buzzed. Rochelle. How'd dinner go? Good. Really good actually. Is he coming to the closing? Yeah. I told him he could. How do you feel about that? Simone thought about it. Hopeful. Scared. Both. That's normal. Just protect your joy, okay? This is your moment. Don't let anyone take that from you. I won't. I promise. The next morning, Simone woke up to the smell of coffee and bacon. She came into the kitchen to find Derek cooking breakfast: scrambled eggs, bacon, toast, fresh fruit arranged on plates like he used to do on Sunday mornings when they were first married. What's all this? She asked. Celebration breakfast, Derek said. I start work Monday, you close on the house in 3 weeks, and I haven't cooked for you in way too long. Seemed like a good time to start again. They ate together at the kitchen table, and Derek asked her about her upcoming sales, about the vintage Chanel purse someone was coming to look at this afternoon, about Mr. Patterson's move to Arizona. When's he leaving? Derek asked. This Saturday. His daughter's driving up to help him pack the last boxes, then they're flying out Sunday. You should do something for him. To say thank you. Maybe we both should. Simone looked at her husband, really looked at him. This version of Derek, the one who thought about other people, who noticed when someone needed acknowledgement, this was the man she'd married. That's a good idea, she said. Let's take him to dinner Thursday night. His favorite place. Moretti's? Yeah. I'll make the reservation. Later that day, while Simone was meeting with a customer, Derek did something he'd never done before he came into her office. Not to interrupt or to ask for something, but to watch. He sat quietly in the corner while Simone showed the customer 3 different vintage Chanel pieces, explaining the history of each one, pointing out the authentication markers, talking about how to care for vintage leather. The customer ended up buying all 3 pieces. $4,200. After she left, Derek just stared at Simone. What? She said. That was incredible. The way you know everything about these pieces, the way you made her feel special, like she was buying treasures instead of just old purses. You're really good at this, Simone. Like really good. Thank you, Simone said, and for the first time in longer than she could remember, she didn't feel like she had to diminish her own accomplishment. She'd done something impressive and her husband saw it, and that was allowed to feel good. That night they watched TV together on the couch. Derek on one end, Simone on the other, a careful distance between them. But when Simone got cold, Derek grabbed the throw blanket and spread it over both of them. Is this okay? He asked. Yeah, Simone said. This is okay. They sat there, not touching but sharing space, and Simone thought maybe this was what healing looked like. Not some dramatic moment where everything was suddenly fixed. Just small steps, day by day, toward becoming people who could be kind to each other again. Thursday evening, Simone and Derek took Mr. Patterson to Moretti's, the little Italian place 3 blocks from their apartment complex. Leonard had been eating there every Friday night for the last 30 years, first with Evelyn, then alone after she died, then occasionally with Simone when she'd join him. The owner, Tony Moretti, came out from the kitchen when he saw Leonard. Leonard. I heard you're leaving us, Tony said, wrapping the older man in a bear hug. Who's going to keep me honest about my marinara sauce now? Your sauce has been perfect since 1990, Leonard said with a laugh. You just like the compliments. They settled into Leonard's usual booth. The restaurant was warm and loud with the dinner rush, the smell of garlic and basil and fresh bread filling the air. Tony brought them wine without asking Chianti for the table on the house. To Arizona, Derek said, raising his glass. And to new adventures. To new adventures, Leonard echoed. Though I'll tell you, I'm not sure how adventurous I'm going to be. Mostly I'll be babysitting grandkids and complaining about the heat. You'll love it, Simone said. Your daughter has been wanting this for so long. She has. And truth is, I've been lonely. This place. Leonard looked around the apartment complex's neighborhood, visible through the restaurant window. It's full of memories. Good ones but also hard ones. Maybe it's time for something new. They ordered Leonard's usual chicken parm, Derek the lasagna, Simone the shrimp scampi. While they waited for food, Leonard pulled out a folder. I wanted to give you both something, he said, sliding it across to Simone. It's all of Evelyn's estate sale contacts, vintage sellers I've worked with over the years, authentication experts, restoration specialists. Everything I know about this business written down. I wanted you to have it. Simone opened the folder. Pages and pages of contacts, notes, advice, even hand-drawn diagrams of how to spot quality stitching on vintage pieces. Mr. Patterson, this is... She couldn't finish the sentence. It's your inheritance, Leonard said simply. Evelyn would have wanted you to have it. She always said I should write this stuff down, that knowledge dies when old people don't pass it on. So I'm passing it on. To you. Derek leaned over to look at the folder. This is incredible. Mr. Patterson, thank you. For everything you've done for Simone. Leonard looked at Derek, really looked at him. You taking care of her now? Really taking care of her? Derek didn't flinch. I'm trying to. I messed up bad, but I'm in therapy, I got a new job, and I'm learning how to be a better husband. I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it. Good, Leonard said. Because this woman here, she's special. She sees value in things other people throw away. She's patient and kind and brilliant at what she does. You don't find that every day. I know, Derek said quietly. Took me too long to see it, but I know. Their food arrived. They ate and talked about easier things, Leonard's grandkids' names and ages, the logistics of his move, Simone's house closing in 2 weeks. I want pictures, Leonard said firmly. Of every room. Especially that sunroom where you're setting up your business. I promise, Simone said. And I want updates. Sales numbers, big finds, customer stories. Just because I'm in Arizona doesn't mean I don't want to know how my star pupil is doing. I'll call you every week. Good. After dinner, they walked Leonard back to his apartment. Most of his furniture was already gone, packed up and shipped or sold or donated. The space looked hollow, echoing in a way that made Simone's chest hurt. This is weird, Leonard said, looking around. 30 years in this place. Evelyn and I moved in when it was brand new. She picked out every piece of furniture, every picture on the walls. Raised our kids here, had Thanksgiving dinners, celebrated birthdays and anniversaries. All of it happened right here. He walked to the window, looked out at the parking lot below. Now it's just an empty box. Amazing how a place can be so full of life and then just not. Simone felt tears sliding down her face. I'm going to miss you so much. Leonard turned and pulled her into a hug. He was shorter than her by a few inches, thin in the way elderly people got, but his hug was strong. You listen to me, he said into her hair. You're going to do incredible things. You're going to build an empire. And when you do, you're going to remember that you didn't do it alone. You had people who believed in you. Me, your mama, Rochelle. Even Derek, eventually. I'll remember, Simone whispered. Leonard pulled back and held her at arm's length. Don't ever make yourself small for anyone. Not even him. He nodded toward Derek. You're a businesswoman. An entrepreneur. A boss. Own that. I will. Promise me. I promise. Leonard turned to Derek. You take care of her. And I don't mean pay the bills or fix things around the house. I mean celebrate her. Brag about her. Tell everyone you know how lucky you are. Can you do that? Yes, sir, Derek said. I can and I will. They said their goodbyes at the door. Simone and Derek walked back to their apartment in silence, both of them emotional. That man really loves you, Derek said finally. He saw me when nobody else did. When you didn't. Derek absorbed that hit without defending himself. I know. And I'm grateful he was there for you when I wasn't. Upstairs, Simone went straight to her office. She opened the folder Leonard had given her and read through every page, crying the whole time. His handwriting was shaky but readable, full of notes and observations and advice built on decades of experience. On the last page, he'd written one final message. Simone, you saved me. After Evelyn died, I thought I'd die too, just from the loneliness. Then you came along and gave me purpose again. Helping you learn this business gave me a reason to get up in the morning. Watching you succeed has been one of the great joys of my life. Never forget you are the one who did the work. You are the one with the talent. I just opened a door. You walked through it and flew. Proud of you always, Leonard. Simone held the letter to her chest and sobbed. Derek found her there 20 minutes later, still crying, surrounded by Leonard's papers. He didn't say anything. He just sat on the floor next to her and let her cry. And when she was ready, he helped her organize all of Leonard's contacts into a binder, labeling each section, making it usable. This is treasure, Derek said, handling the papers carefully. Actual treasure. It is, Simone agreed. They worked in silence, side by side, and it felt like what they used to be. Partners. Team. People who could sit together and build something. Outside, life continued. Mr. Patterson packed his last boxes. Somewhere, Simone's house sat waiting. And in 2 weeks, everything would change. But for now, in this moment, Simone and Derek were just two people on the floor of a small apartment, organizing papers and carefully putting together something precious. It wasn't everything. But it was something. And something was a start. 1 week before closing, Simone's business exploded in a way she'd never experienced. A celebrity stylist found her website, posted about one of Simone's vintage Versace pieces on Instagram, tagged Simone's business account. By noon, Simone had 67 new orders. By evening, 214. By midnight, over 400 people were trying to buy pieces from her limited inventory, and her website kept crashing from the traffic. "Oh my God," Simone said, staring at her computer screen at 2 a.m. "Oh my God, this is insane." Derek, who'd fallen asleep on the couch waiting for her to come to bed, woke up when he heard her voice. "What's wrong?" he said, stumbling into the office. "Nothing's wrong. Everything's right. Too right. I can't, there are too many orders. I can't fill them all. I don't have enough inventory." Derek looked at the screen. 487 orders? 492 now, Simone said, refreshing the page. "I don't know what to do. I've never had anything like this happen." "Okay," Derek said, suddenly awake and focused. "Okay, let's think. You can't fill all of these, so you need to prioritize. What's your actual inventory?" "Maybe 60 pieces. 70 if I count the items I was saving for next month's listings." "So you respond to everyone. Thank them for their interest. Tell them that due to overwhelming response, you're operating on a first-come first-served basis for current inventory, but you're taking waitlist requests for future pieces." Simone stared at him. "That's actually brilliant." "I have my moments." Derek sat down next to her. "What else? What do you need?" "I need to sort through these orders, figure out which ones I can fill, send apologetic emails to the rest. I need to package everything that's sold. I need to update the website, handle customer service questions, coordinate shipping." "I'll help. Tell me what to do." So they worked. All night, side by side. Derek learned her inventory system, helped her sort orders by timestamp, drafted email responses while Simone packaged pieces. When the sun came up, they were still going. Rochelle showed up at 7 with coffee and breakfast sandwiches. "I saw your Instagram," she said. "Girl, you're blowing up." "It's chaos," Simone said, but she was smiling. "The best kind of chaos, but still chaos." Rochelle looked at Derek, who was carefully wrapping tissue paper around a vintage Gucci belt. "You're helping?" "Yeah." Simone needed the help. "He's been here all night," Simone added. "I couldn't have done this without him." Something shifted in Rochelle's expression. A softening, maybe. She'd been protective of Simone, rightfully so, but now she was seeing Derek differently. Seeing him as someone who showed up. "That's good," Rochelle said. "That's really good." By end of day, they'd filled every order they could, sent apologetic emails to everyone else, and set up a waitlist system for future inventory. Simone's business bank account had grown by $43,000 in one day. $43,000. "I need to hire help," Simone said, staring at the numbers. "I can't do this alone anymore. I need someone to handle customer service, maybe someone for packaging and shipping. I need to actually build a team." "Do it," Derek said. "You've got the house with space for an office. You've got the income to support employees. You've built something that's outgrowing you. That's a good problem to have." That evening, exhausted but exhilarated, Simone and Derek ordered pizza and ate it sitting on the couch. "Thank you," Simone said. "For last night. For staying up with me. For learning my systems and helping without making me feel bad for needing help." "That's what partners do," Derek said. "I should have been doing it all along. You're doing it now. That counts." Derek was quiet for a moment. "Dr. Freeman asked me something yesterday. He asked me what I was afraid of. Like really afraid of. And I realized I was afraid that if you didn't need me financially, you wouldn't need me at all. That the only value I brought to the marriage was my paycheck. That's not true. I know that now. Last night proved it. You didn't need me to help, but you let me anyway. And working with you, seeing how brilliant you are at what you do, supporting that instead of feeling threatened by it, that felt better than any paycheck ever did. Simone leaned her head on his shoulder. It was the most physical contact they'd had in weeks, and it felt natural. Right. I'm scared too, she admitted. Scared of what happens after we move into the house. Scared that we're putting a band-aid on something that's still broken underneath. Scared that you're changing because you feel like you have to, not because you want to. I'm changing because I almost lost you, Derek said. I'm changing because I finally understand what I'd be losing. Not a wife who needs me to provide. A partner who sees value in forgotten things. Who builds empires quietly. Who's patient and kind even when she shouldn't be. He turned to look at her. I'm changing because I want to be worthy of you. And that's going to take work every single day for the rest of my life. But I'm willing to do that work. Simone felt tears sliding down her face. Again. She'd cried more in the last 2 months than in the previous 2 years combined. The closing is in 1 week, she said. I'm getting those keys whether we're okay or not. I know. I need you to promise me something. Anything. Promise me you'll keep going to therapy. Even after we move. Even when things are good. Promise me you'll keep doing the work on yourself. I promise. And promise me you'll tell me if you're struggling. If you're feeling inadequate or threatened or overwhelmed. Promise me you won't hide it and let it fester until it turns into resentment. I promise. Simone took a breath. Then you can move into the house with me. Not just visit. Not just help me move. Actually move in with me as my husband. Derek's eyes filled with tears. Thank you. Thank you for giving me another chance. Don't make me regret it, Simone said, but she was smiling. They sat there on the couch eating pizza, and for the first time in months, Simone felt like they might actually make it. Like they might build something new from the broken pieces of what they'd been. Her phone buzzed. Mr. Patterson from Arizona. Heard about your big day. Saw the Instagram post. Told you that you were going to build an empire. Proud of you, star pupil. Simone showed Derek the message. He's right, Derek said. You did build an empire. And I'm proud of you too. Those words, I'm proud of you, hit Simone harder than she expected. Because she realized Derek had never said them before. Not once in their 8 years of marriage. He'd said he loved her, said he was happy for her, said lots of things. But never those specific words. I'm proud of you. Say it again, she whispered. I'm proud of you, Derek said, looking her in the eyes. I'm so damn proud of you, Simone. For everything you've built. Everything you've accomplished. Everything you are. Simone cried into his shoulder while he held her, and this time they were happy tears. Healing tears. The kind that washed away months of hurt and disappointment and fear. They weren't fixed. They still had work to do, therapy to attend, conversations to have, trust to rebuild. But they were getting there. Day by day they were getting there. The morning of closing, Simone couldn't eat breakfast. Her stomach was in knots, good knots, excited knots, but knots nonetheless. Derek made her coffee and toast anyway, stood in the kitchen until she ate at least half. You need to eat, he said. This is a big day. Biggest day. I'm too nervous. You're getting the keys to your house. Our house. What's there to be nervous about? What if something goes wrong? What if the wire transfer doesn't go through? What if there's some problem with the title? What if... Derek put his hands on her shoulders. Breathe. It's all going to be fine. Rochelle has done this 1,000 times. She's got everything handled. Simone nodded, trying to believe him. They dressed carefully. Simone wore a navy blue dress that made her feel professional and powerful. Derek wore slacks and a button-down shirt, the same outfit he'd worn to his first day at his new job 3 days ago. The job was going well. Derek came home every evening energized instead of depleted, talking about projects and timelines and the team he was managing. He was good at it. She'd always known he was good at construction management. He just needed the chance to prove it again. Lorraine met them at the title company. She'd taken the day off work specifically for this, wouldn't miss it for anything. My baby's buying a house, she kept saying, hugging Simone tight. My baby's buying a house with her own money. Rochelle was already there, looking professional in her business suit, a leather portfolio under her arm. Tasha was with her, carrying a gift bag. For your new home, Tasha said, handing it to Simone. From both of us. Inside was a beautiful door wreath with the words, Welcome Home, embroidered on it, and a bottle of champagne. For celebrating, Rochelle said with a wink. They went into the conference room. The sellers were already there, an older white couple who'd lived in the house for 15 years, raised their kids there. They were downsizing now, moving to a condo in Florida. "You're going to love that house," the wife said, smiling at Simone. "It's been good to us. Lots of happy memories there." The closing officer went through the paperwork. Page after page of documents, each one requiring Simone's signature. She signed her name so many times it stopped looking like a real word. Derek sat next to her, not signing anything because this was her house, her purchase, her accomplishment, but present. Supporting her just by being there. When they got to the final page, the one that transferred ownership, Simone's hand shook. "Take your time," the closing officer said kindly. Simone looked at the paper. At her name typed there, official and legal and real. Simone Parker. Homeowner. She signed. The sellers signed their portion. The closing officer stamped and notarized and processed everything. And then she slid a key across the table. "Congratulations, Miss Parker. You're a homeowner." The room erupted in applause. Lorraine was crying. Rochelle was crying. Tasha was taking pictures. Derek was grinning so wide Simone thought his face might split. And Simone held that key like it was made of gold. They went straight to the house. All of them, Lorraine, Derek, Rochelle, Tasha. Simone put the key in the lock, turned it, and pushed open the door. "Welcome home, baby," Lorraine said, and they all walked inside. The house was empty but perfect. Afternoon sun streaming through the windows. Hardwood floors gleaming. That kitchen with the wolf stove and granite counters waiting for someone to cook in it. "I can't believe this is mine," Simone whispered. "Believe it," Derek said. "You earned this." They walked through every room together. Lorraine already planning where furniture should go, what colors would look good on the walls. Rochelle and Tasha measuring windows for curtains. Derek standing in the sunroom, looking at the space that would become Simone's business headquarters. "This is incredible," he said. "You're going to do amazing things in this space." In the backyard, there was a wooden swing hanging from one of the oak trees. Simone sat on it, swaying gently, looking back at the house. Her house. She'd done it. Despite everything, despite Derek's doubt, despite her own fears, despite every obstacle, she'd built a successful business and bought a beautiful home. She'd proven to herself that she was capable of anything she set her mind to. Her phone buzzed. "Mr. Patterson. Got your text about the closing. Congratulations, star pupil. Now send me those pictures you promised." Simone spent the next 20 minutes taking photos of every room, every corner, every window. She sent them to Leonard with a message. "Did it? The house is mine. Thank you for believing in me." His response came seconds later. "Never doubted you for a second. Make that sunroom sing." That evening they ordered takeout and ate sitting on the floor of the empty living room. Chinese food from containers, passing around chopsticks, toasting with the champagne Rochelle and Tasha had brought. To Simone, Lorraine said, raising her plastic cup. "Who worked her butt off and made her dreams come true." To Simone, everyone echoed. Simone felt overwhelmed by it all. By the house, by the success, by the people surrounding her who'd supported her journey. She looked at Derek, who was watching her with something like awe in his expression. "Thank you for being here," she said to him quietly while the others were talking. "Thank you for letting me be here," he replied. After everyone left, it was just Simone and Derek in the empty house. They'd go back to the apartment tonight, sleep there one more time while the movers brought their furniture tomorrow. But for now they had this moment. They stood in the living room, surrounded by bare walls and endless possibility. "I have something to say," Derek said. He looked nervous the way he'd looked when he proposed all those years ago. "I've been practicing this with Dr. Freeman because I wanted to get it right." "Okay," Simone said. "I failed you. For months I failed you. I let my pride and my pain turn me into someone who made you feel small. Someone who dismissed your dreams and mocked your success. And I am so sorry. Not just sorry that it hurt you, but sorry that I was capable of doing that in the first place." His voice cracked. "You deserved a partner who celebrated you. Who bragged about you. Who saw your brilliance and felt lucky to be married to someone so talented and driven. Instead, you got someone who felt threatened by your success. That was wrong. That was cruel. And I will spend the rest of my life making up for it." Simone felt tears sliding down her face. "I know we're not fixed," Derek continued. "I know I have years of work ahead to become the husband you deserve. But I want to do that work. I want to be someone you're proud of. Someone who makes your life better, not harder." "You're getting there," Simone said. "You really are." "I love you," Derek said. "Not because you make good money or because you bought this house. I love you because you're kind to strangers and patient with people who don't deserve it and brilliant at seeing beauty in forgotten things. I love you because you're you. And I'm sorry it took me so long to show you that properly. Simone crossed the distance between them and kissed him. Really kissed him the way she hadn't in months. And it felt like coming home. I love you too, she said. And I'm choosing to believe in us. To believe that we can build something good here. But Derek, if you ever make me feel small again. I won't. I swear I won't. If you do, I won't give you another chance. I can't. I won't survive it. You won't have to. I promise. They stood in their empty house, holding each other, and Simone let herself believe it. Believe that they could start fresh here. That this house could be a new beginning for both of them. Outside, the sun was setting, painting the sky gold and orange and pink. Inside, Simone and Derek stood in the home she'd built with her own hands, her own work, her own relentless drive to succeed. Tomorrow they'd fill it with furniture and books and all the pieces of their life. But tonight it was just them and endless possibility. Just them and hope. Just them and home. 6 months later, Simone stood in her sunroom-turned office and looked at the team she'd built. There were 4 of them now. Denise, a 52-year-old black woman who handled customer service with grace and efficiency. James, a 26-year-old fashion student who had an incredible eye for styling and photography. Angela, Rochelle's cousin, who managed inventory and shipping. And Simone, who'd grown from a solo operation into someone who ran a real company with employees and benefits and quarterly reviews. Okay team, Simone said looking at the whiteboard where they tracked sales and goals. We did 70,000 last month. That's our best month ever. James, those Instagram reels you've been doing? They're working. Angela, shipping times are down to 24 hours. Denise, customer satisfaction is at 98%. You all are incredible. They had a team lunch after sandwiches from the deli down the street, eaten on the back deck that Derek had helped her restore. The oak trees provided shade, birds sang in the branches, and Simone felt a contentment she'd never experienced before. Her business wasn't a hobby anymore. It wasn't something she did secretly, apologetically. It was a real company that employed people, that gave them good wages and health insurance and opportunities to grow. She'd proven everyone wrong, including herself. After work, Derek came home with his arms full of groceries. He was cooking dinner, his new thing, something he did 3 nights a week now. Tonight was salmon with roasted vegetables, and the kitchen smelled incredible. How was your day? He asked, kissing her cheek. Great. We hit 70,000 last month. Simone, that's amazing. Did you celebrate with the team? We had lunch together. But yeah, we celebrated. Derek finished prepping dinner and put it in the oven to roast. Then he pulled Simone onto the couch, where they'd started a tradition of talking about their days, really talking, sharing the good and the bad and everything in between. I got a promotion, Derek said. Senior project manager. $20,000 raise. Baby, that's incredible. Simone hugged him tight. I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of me too, Derek said, and he sounded surprised by it. 6 months ago I thought my career was over. Now I'm managing 3 projects and training new employees. It's wild how things change. You worked for it. You earned it. They talked about his promotion, about Simone's plans to expand into designer consignment, about Lorraine's upcoming retirement party. They talked about everything and nothing the way couples do when they're actually connected. Later, over dinner, Derek brought up something they'd been dancing around for weeks. I've been thinking, he said carefully, about the 4th bedroom. The empty one upstairs. Simone's heart started beating faster. Yeah. What if we turned it into a nursery? The word hung in the air between them. Nursery. Baby. Family. Are you sure? Simone asked. 6 months ago we were barely speaking. Now you want to have a baby? 6 months ago I was a different person. We were different people. But we've done the work, Simone. We've gone to therapy together and separately. We've learned how to communicate. We've built something good here. He reached across the table and took her hand. I want a family with you. If you still want that too. Simone thought about it. Really thought about it. 6 months ago she would have said no. Would have known they weren't ready. But now they talked every day. Now Derek asked about her business with genuine interest. Now they supported each other's wins instead of feeling threatened by them. Now they were partners in every sense of the word. I want that too, she said. Let's start trying. Derek grinned, that huge smile that made him look like a kid on Christmas morning. Yeah. They spent the rest of the evening planning. Talking about names they liked, about what kind of parents they wanted to be, about how they'd balance business and family. It felt real and possible and terrifying in the best way. That weekend they had a housewarming party. Everyone came: Lorraine, Rochelle and Tasha, Derek's co-workers, Simone's employees, neighbors they'd gotten to know. The house was full of laughter and music and the smell of good food. Simone stood on her back deck, watching everyone she loved gathered in her home, and felt overcome with gratitude. Derek came up behind her, wrapped his arms around her waist. "You good?" "I'm perfect," Simone said. "This is perfect. You did this. Built this whole life. We did this. Together." And it was true. Simone had bought the house, had built the business, had proven her worth. But Derek had done his own work, confronted his demons, changed his patterns, learned how to be a true partner. They both had to grow. Rochelle clinked a glass, getting everyone's attention. "I want to say something," she announced. "A year ago my best friend came to me wanting to look at houses. Her husband laughed at her. Told her she couldn't afford it. Dismissed her business as a hobby." Derek visibly flinched, but he didn't look away. This was part of his growth, facing the truth of what he'd done without making excuses. "But Simone didn't back down," Rochelle continued. "She put in an offer anyway. She bought this house with her own money, built from a business she created from nothing. She proved that she was capable of anything she set her mind to." And Derek, Rochelle looked at him directly. Derek did the hardest thing anyone can do. He admitted he was wrong. He did the work to change. And now they're here together in this beautiful home they both earned. So I want to toast to second chances. To growth. To love that survives mistakes. To Simone and Derek. To Simone and Derek, everyone echoed. After everyone left, Simone and Derek cleaned up together. Loading the dishwasher, putting away food, wiping down counters. Simple domestic tasks that felt meaningful because they were doing them together. "I never thank you," Derek said as they finished. "For what?" "For not giving up on me. For giving me the chance to do better. A lot of people wouldn't have. Would have just left and never looked back." "I thought about it," Simone admitted. "There were moments I was sure we were done." "What changed your mind?" "You did. When you actually started doing the work instead of just talking about it. When I saw you in therapy, getting the job, learning my business, supporting me instead of competing with me. That's when I knew we might make it." Derek pulled her close. "I love you. And I'm going to keep proving it every single day for the rest of our lives." "I love you too." They went upstairs, passing the fourth bedroom, the one that would soon be a nursery. Simone paused in the doorway, imagining it painted soft yellow, with a crib in the corner and shelves of children's books and a rocking chair by the window. "It's going to be beautiful," Derek said, reading her mind. "Everything's going to be beautiful," Simone replied. And she meant it. The business that kept growing. The house that felt like home. The marriage that had survived crisis and come out stronger. The family they were planning to build. Everything was going to be beautiful because she'd made it that way. She'd refused to be small. She'd refused to give up on herself. And in doing so, she'd built a life worth living. That night, lying in bed in the house she'd bought with her own money, her husband asleep beside her, Simone thought about everything that had brought her here. Mr. Patterson's mentorship. Lorraine's unwavering support. Rochelle's refusal to let her settle. Her own determination to see value in forgotten things. Most of all, she thought about that day in the real estate office. When Derek had laughed at her. When she decided that his doubt wouldn't define her. That was the day everything changed. The day she chose herself. And look where it had led. To this house. This business. This life. This second chance at love built on mutual respect and genuine partnership. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand. A text from Mr. Patterson, even though it was late in Arizona. "Saw your Instagram. Your team looks amazing. That sunroom looks amazing. You look amazing. Told you that you'd build an empire. Proud of you always, star pupil." Simone smiled, typed back, "Couldn't have done it without you. Thank you for everything. You did it all yourself. I just watched you fly." Simone put the phone down and closed her eyes. Tomorrow she'd wake up in her house, go to her office, run her business, love her husband, and keep building the life she'd dreamed of. Tomorrow and every day after that. Because she'd learned the most important lesson. Your worth isn't determined by whether someone else can see it. Your dreams don't need anyone's permission to come true. You just have to believe in yourself enough to take the first step. And then the next. And then the next. Until one day you're standing in the life you built, holding the keys to your own happiness, and you realize you always had the power. You just had to trust yourself enough to use it.